Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to keep it kind of chill and just sketch in my travel sketchbook. Maybe you've heard of her. I've dedicated a couple videos now to working on it, but while we work on that, I guess I do have a bit of a story time in light of the whole MTV News going dark situation. I don't know if you've heard of it, but I kind of have a little story about that because I once worked at MTV News, and actually I was affected by the whole MTV News going dark sitch. So yeah, I just want to talk about an event that preceded that. So in case you haven't heard, the entirety of the MTV News online catalog, which is about 2 decades of content, has gone dark. It's not archived, it's not saved anywhere, it just no longer exists. And for me and other reporters, which I was a weekend writer at MTV, so I was doing mostly pop culture stuff, but for myself and other former reporters, there's kind of no proof that we ever even worked there. So that's an entire chunk of my work history that just doesn't exist anymore. So if I wanted to show a portfolio of my work at the early stages of my writing, when I was doing writing for the internet, there's an entire portion of my work that just doesn't exist out there anymore, and it's from a major publication, so it's kind of a big deal that it existed in the first place. And now myself and a lot of people like me kind of have nothing to show for it. As of time of recording, I even did the whole Googling my name and MTV next to it just to see what would come up, and although the front-facing links are there on the Google page, all of them redirect back to the MTV homepage. So yeah. So my fun story today is my fun story today is about how I got fired from MTV, which fired is such a nasty word. It sounds awful. It sounds like I did something wrong and therefore I was fired, when in reality it was kind of it was a big media frenzy at the time about what people thought specifically Gen Z, that was the generation that they were looking at, what Gen Z wanted out of their internet content. You may or may not have heard of this, but at that point in time, when I was still writing for the internet, there was some sort of Facebook metric that was implying that video content was king, that people weren't really reading articles, it was all about videos, and short form videos specifically. As it turns out, that metric was kind of severely overrepresented because it's like a whole technical thing, but supposedly the way it was working is that they were not accounting for people actually sitting and watching the videos, but kind of when you scroll past a video and it auto plays, those couple of seconds of you watching it during the autoplay counted towards the numbers, when they're crunching the numbers about what is a substantial amount of time that people spent watching the videos versus reading an article. So the numbers are a little inflated, but regardless, it sent off a frenzy. It kicked off a whole frenzy where it's well, nobody's reading, girls, so what's even the point of writing an article? Along with this idea of video is king, I'm sure there was some sort of money issue. I don't know. I didn't really get into it that deep because, like I said, I only worked there for on weekends. Basically, what followed was a mass layoff of people who have been working there for years and years and years, and then people who are fairly new, like myself. So when everything was going down, I had a second job because it was the MTV gig was kind of a part-time gig situation. So I was at my usual 9-to-5 job, and I got a call from a former boss or someone at MTV. It wasn't the person directly in charge of me, but someone higher up in the chain, which freaked me out because why is the big boss man calling me? You know what I'm saying? So obviously the alarm bells are ringing. I wasn't able to take the call at the time because I was at my 9-to-5. I was in the middle of a meeting, so had to call back. So I did try to call back after my meeting a couple of times because the person who had left me, the person who had called me had left a message basically asking me to call back. So and this was like a Friday, so I was trying to get them before the offices would close, or maybe they wouldn't be working that time, but I couldn't get through to anyone, so I just left it at that. But that same night I was hanging out with a friend of mine who worked full-time with MTV, so I figured I'd run it by her, maybe she knows what's up, because we worked in the same department doing similar jobs. So I was like, you know what, let me hit up my girl, see if she knows what's going on, because this felt weird. So now we're later on in the evening. I've met up with my friend, we're having drinks, we're having dinner, and I asked, what's going on over at the Viacom offices? Because Big Boss Man gave me a call, left me a message, can't get back to him, don't know what's going on. And she gave me a look and she was like, oh, you haven't heard? Now, when someone says, oh, you haven't heard like that, it's either going to be bad news bears for you or like gossip about something else. Unfortunately for me, it was bad news bears. So she starts telling me all the chaos basically that's been happening at the Viacom offices. People were getting fired left, right, and center. And it's not just like first one's in or last one's in, first one's out kind of situation, but across the board, people who've been working at MTV doing like music journalism and pop culture reporting for years and years and years are getting fired just apropos of nothing. It's basically, bottom line is we need more video and you're not doing video, so get on out of here, girls. So we kind of came to the conclusion that it was like, it feels like maybe I was getting my call, but because we couldn't get through to anyone and I have to go into work the next day, I wasn't really sure of where I landed with that. So kind of just had to show up to work and see what happens. So I kind of built my expectation that like this feels like it was a firing, but I wasn't officially let go. So I guess I'm gonna show up and hope for the best. Saturday comes, Saturday rolls around, I get up, log in, do my thing, and my direct boss, I guess, like supervisor, I don't know, my direct supervisor is on the group chat, and I'm like, oh hey bro, I did get a call from Boss Man, and I'm not entirely positive what the call was about, so hi, I'm at work today, ? And he hit me with another, oh, you haven't heard? So what happened was, it looks like the person that fired me in the interim, or was supposed to fire me, because yes, I was fired, in the interim of him making that call and me calling him back. Mind you, the call back was like not even 30 minutes. But in the interim between those two points in time, he got fired. So he didn't fire me, and then he got fired. And so that was the end of that. Unfortunately, that was I think that was pretty much the shuttering of my writing career on the internet. I just started full-blown leaning back into illustration. Not that I ever let it go, but if the writing thing had gone somewhere, I'd probably just follow that path a little bit longer. But yeah, my unceremonious letting go at the hands of MTV. Although it has led to my favorite quote about myself, which I've probably said a million times on here and other places. That final goodbye to MTV, my supervisor is kind of like, you are the truest fan of anything I've ever met. And I walk with that spirit. I love that. Thank you so much. So shout out to my former supervisor, MTV, for saying that about me. You have no idea how much I enjoyed hearing that. But now with the shuttering of MTV News completely this time around, it is a reminder to me to archive my work, because that's a significant chunk of my work history that I can't pull up to just show people anymore. If you don't have proof, if you have your work somewhere on the internet, archive it to the best of your ability. That's a reminder, because I also formerly worked at BuzzFeed, and they went through some sort of restructuring where a lot of my articles are formatted now very weirdly. They're missing pictures. They're not fun to look at. They won't get any more traction than what they had when they were first made. So it's sad because you put so much work into some of these things and now they're a shell of themselves. So yeah, even though I don't really lead with the writing part of my career when I'm looking for work at this juncture in time, I mostly focus on the illustration side of it. It is really sad to see things that you worked so hard on just disappear so easily. And then for my fellow other writers who stuck to it and this is legitimately their career path, that if they don't have that archived, they have no proof that they worked somewhere with such a big name as MTV. So it's been sad to see them go completely dark. And that has been my story time moment. Shout out to my friend and fellow YouTuber Animation for reminding me that I used to do things with my life, because I be forgetting, y'all. But if you want to hear more stories or see some art or I don't know, learn some things about art, please like, follow, subscribe, and all the other YouTube things down below. Also, if you are in the Tampa Bay area, come check me out. I'm gonna be at Tampa Bay Comic Con in August. Baby's first con, y'all, so please show support. Love you. For everybody else though, you can come check me out on the internet anytime you want. New videos every other Saturday, and I'll catch you on the internet sometime, my friend. Goodbye.